Welcome to episode 27 of the Everyday Citizens Tactical Podcast, Life and Business Updates. My name is Jeremy and I will be your host. Today we're going to play it a little bit more casual, and I'm going to talk about what's been going on behind the scenes at ECT, some personal life updates for myself, and then we're going to talk a little bit about current events and my thoughts on what is to come. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a casual episode of the podcast.
Tell me turn it down and I'ma only turn up louder. Call me what you wanna, but you can't call me no coward. Straight to numbers, we the people, still the ones with power. Fighting fire with fire, time to take back what is ours. Tell me turn it down and I'ma only turn up louder. Call me what you wanna, but you can't call me no coward. Straight to numbers, we the people, still the ones with power. Fighting fire with fire, time to take back what is ours.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a little over a month now by the time this episode gets posted. Life has changed just a little bit for my personal life. For those of you that have listened and followed for a while, you know that I have a few people that help me with filming, especially as of more recently. And I've got a couple people that I contract for classes with being instructors and whatnot. But when it comes to the admin, production, and product side of everything, I pretty much do everything for ECT myself as of right now, out of my house. So sometimes when life starts to change and things start to pile up, some things kind of get pushed to the side temporarily. And with all that being said, my goal is to hopefully do a podcast episode a month moving forward. Until things kind of slow down just a little bit. Normally, my goal was for there always be 2 a month, but I think we're probably going to back it down to 1 a month, and then that will hopefully give me just a little extra time to maybe push out an additional YouTube video instead of a podcast episode. But we'll see how that goes. So first big life update for those of you that follow me on the personal Instagram. I went back to paramedic class. I started that again back in August. For those that have known me for a while, know that the first time I tried to go to medic class in fall of 2021, I'd already been in EMT and I was working in the fire service at that time after getting out of the Marine Corps. I had just finished my prereqs for medic class and we were about to start the first semester of big boy class. And all of the regional hospitals came out pretty much at the same time and said all employees, volunteers, and students needed to be vaccinated in order to work or do clinical time at the hospitals, so on and so forth. And pretty much all of the regional hospitals came out at the same time and said that. So I was faced with the ultimatum of, do I get the vaccine and continue medic class, or do I get kicked out / drop medic class and stay true to my word that I would not get bullied or harassed into getting the vaccine? And as most of you can assume and know, that I did not get the vaccine, nor will I ever at this point. But just a few months ago, right at the beginning of summer, the hospitals came out and said, we're backing off this now, so on and so forth. Students no longer need this, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to go back to medic class. Might as well go ahead and get it done now because life only gets busier as you get older. I got a wedding right around the corner, and then kids will be right after that. Got to start that. Got to start the family. Got to get that portion of life going. And then, of course, here on the farm, it is harvest season. I like to do like a little homestead review at the end of fall, but we've been doing really good this year. A lot more pumpkins this year than we had last year. Our corn, at least our sweet corn, unfortunately did not do well. We are growing dent corn, which is feed corn for those that don't know, on a different side of the property, and that actually is going well. And this is the first year we've done that. So it's been interesting. And our chickens we added to the flock this year because we hatched our own eggs. They finally started laying. So we're getting a lot more eggs now. I actually took the time to harvest from the pear tree this year, so things are going well. We've had a few setbacks, but for those of you that do garden or actually farm like commercially, like for a business, that pretty much middle of August to damn near the end of October is very, very busy. Trying to get everything done and catch up and so on and so forth. But there's that going on. And then, of course, just normal life things, trying to always get to the gym. I lift minimum 6 days a week. If I only lift 5 days a week, something went really wrong. 6 is normally where I like to be at. And then we have ECT. We've got training with the local guys. We got friends, family, the whole shebang. Everybody's got a life that's busy right now. I try to pick up overtime where I can. Economy sucks. You guys know how it is. But when it comes to ECT, it's interesting, to say the least, because we're in a very awkward economic time. Sales, of course, have obviously slowed down, and since we're not doing the classes while I'm in paramedic class, and the classes were a big portion of our income, which of course then turned to us buying better training equipment, or investing into a new product, whatever it might be. We're not doing that right now, so we're pretty much all on the product side. Now, as of the time of this video, this week actually, I got all of the, I believe it was the Coyote Brown and the M81 Swift danglers color variations in, and then I think in like the next 2 weeks or so, the multicam and the black will be in. So that was a large chunk of change, but we finally have all the color variations in for that. The radio sales, we've been doing good. I love to see that, not just on the XTS front, but just in general, more people are really branching out with their comms, both the portables and guys getting into like base stations, whether it's HF, VHF, whatever it is. It's awesome. I love to see it. Unfortunately, we've had to put an end to the sale of brand new XTS 5000 housings, because we weren't able to get the OEM, which is, like true brand housing replacements anymore. And we had to start getting kind of the Chinese, kind of not knockoffs, but I mean, they're almost the same exact thing, but the Chinese cheaper version. And I don't want to sell that to people. I did a few, and putting them together, the pieces, the housings themselves are very strong actually. It's like the smaller components, the knobs, the little retention pieces, stuff like that. That's just not the same. It's just not. It's not as nice. And I personally, especially for how much these radios cost, I don't want to be selling people that kind of stuff. So for a while, we're going to be sticking with just the original housing radio sales until the market either improves or we move to something else, whatever that might be. But we're not going to be doing the Chinese knockoff rehousing things anymore. It's just not what we're going to do. I don't feel right doing it. It's not the same. Medical, IFACs are obviously a big one of ours that we do. Those have been selling well. For those that didn't see when we announced it on YouTube, we sell Mountain House meals now. We are a dealer for Mountain House meals. Are Mountain House meals the best option? No, they're not. I guess it depends on the application that you're using it in. For field food, like from the Minuteman side, is it the best option? No. Is it an option? Sure. Do they taste good? Sure. Are they going to always be best for what you're specifically trying to do? No. But they're rather affordable. They have a really good long shelf life. There's a lot of varieties. They're not that expensive. So as far as just like preparing, freeze-dried foods for the shelf for maybe like family bug outs or stuff like that, Mountain House meals, great option. So head on over to the website, check out that kind of stuff. If there's a flavor you don't see that you want, because we couldn't get everything in stock this early into launching them and whatnot, send us an email, leave us a comment, whatever it might be, and we'll look at adding that. I'm always making notes of stuff people want to see, or like variations of stuff that we carry for other dealers. They're like, hey, you should carry blah 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 variation, or they have this product too, look at that, whatever it might be. I'm always making note of that kind of stuff. But really, a lot of what I've been doing in-house as far as ECT goes is two things. One, testing gear, and preparing more gear reviews. By the time this has come out, we've been doing some work with Red Right Hand. Love the guys over at Red Right Hand. We just got done with their LMG upper review. Kind of that LSW build. Loved that upper. It was fantastic. It really was. And I know we're going to be doing some more work with them in the future. We just finished kind of the field testing of the Onward Research Recce chest rig and kind of our initial thoughts on that. And then we just got in T-Rex Arms' new chest rig, so we're going to be doing a review on that. And I know some people are like, gear reviews? Really? But I think in this day and age, as the tactical civilian kind of changes from, real slick carriers and 3 mags and that's it kind of builds to more fighting loads, sustainment style loads, especially with what's going on in Europe right now and all the footage we get from Ukraine, Russian stuff. Everybody's mindset has kind of changed. So I like doing reviews on either rifle parts, gear, whatever it might be that I think people will find useful. Now, a big thing that I have been doing behind the scenes away from tactical gear is the comm stuff. I haven't posted any content on it yet, but we're cooking up some good stuff when it comes to tactical communications that does not rely on large amounts of, infrastructure or, necessarily lots of people to operate, so on and so forth. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're working on that involves both like mobile radios and portable radios. I do plan to push out more comms content that's kind of more tactically centered. There's a lot of awesome comms channels on YouTube. There's a ton. And on Instagram, there's tons of cool comms pages. But not everybody always posts comm knowledge in the tactical sense. So that's going to be something I look to post more of, hopefully. Excuse me for a second. Gotta drink my water. Make sure you hydrate, kids. And that's really where we lie with ECT at the moment. There's a few things I want to expand on as far as different products and gear and whatnot. But that, of course, requires money. And times are tougher. And even with our existing product line, whether we're dealing for somebody else or, like it's one of our products, like the Swift Anglers or the Trauma IFAKs, or even like the radio stuff, from all these dealers and whatnot that I get different radio components from, bring them in-house, refurbish, clean them up, program them, update them, all that kind of stuff, and essentially create these radio packages. Even prices are going up on stuff like that. And as those prices continue to go up, I've been trying not to mess with prices at all. I don't want prices to continue to go up because prices go up on everything. But I feel like eventually I'm going to have to make that adjustment. I've been for like past 6 months as things continue to go up, I've been eating the cost of it. Is that financially or, business smart? Maybe not. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm new to this kind of stuff, and we're just kind of winging it at this point, figuring it out as we go. I think the only product I've had go up in the past 6 months was the XTS radios, the VHF. The VHF were originally $475, and I want to say they were recently changed to $485. And that's because there's a few components that went up in price, and then shipping, of course, to actually get all these components to us continues to go up. So I made just a small adjustment. I was like, hopefully this just helps cover shipping when I order all of these components and whatnot and bring them in-house, just a little bit. But that's where ECT lies. We are going to the Human Trafficking Awareness Range Day at the end of this week. This video was posted, let's see, the podcast will be posted on the 11th. I believe the 11th. September 11th, Monday. And September 16th and 17th is the Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Big range day put on out there at Ben Franklin Range in Pennsylvania. We're going to have more content to come on that. Hopefully I get some good pictures and whatnot. I know the first day I'm doing the long range shooting class with Apex, I believe it is. And then the second day, Justin, who's one of the main organizers of this, was kind enough to let ECT kind of set up like a little booth, little table at the event. So definitely looking forward to shaking hands, kissing babies, the whole nine with that. But yeah, that's where ECT lies. Hopefully a little more consistent YouTube content to come. I do have some new content idea stuff that I'm going to be working on with the Modern Minuteman series. There's going to be a few videos that come out in the foreseeable future that aren't going to quite be focused around gear as much, but maybe the more educational side. And I might take like a S2 Underground kind of video approach to it. We're going to see how that works out. I'll definitely ask for feedback when we post the first one of that kind of series. But yeah, that is ECT and my personal life, guys, and where that all lies. Obviously, we've had a lot of interesting events take place since the beginning of summer. We've had all of the political stuff going on with former President Donald Trump. We had the Maui wildfires and the wildfires that are everywhere right now. We had the hurricane that just hit Florida, and then the second one, I believe it's Ian, what it might be, that's going to hit it. And then there's like another one behind that one that's going to hit Florida. You know, there's a lot of weirdness going on around the world, and I don't want to get too into, you know, specific events that are going on, but 2024 is going to be weird. I just have to come out and say that it's election year, and every election year since 2012, 2012, which was really kind of weird. 2016 was even a little weirder, and just a little bit after the election, like the first year of Trump's presidency, there was some weirdness. 2020 goes without saying, and it's been weird every year since 2020. And I think 2024, unfortunately, I think some things are going to come to a head. And I don't want it to sound like a doomer. You know, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but things don't look good in the next 12 to 18 months. They just don't. And it's unfortunate, but it's just part of the reality of the world we live in and the timeline that we live in, and it's just our turn to face some significant adversity across many of fronts. Obviously, economic times right now are very difficult, and you should look inwards as to how you plan to deal with that both now and in the future as things continue to get worse. And the first and biggest thing you can, you know, address that on is your food preps and just your basic house preps. Do you have adequate dry food storage, canned goods, whether it be literal tin can goods you got from the store or goods that you canned from your garden this year? You know, your tomatoes, maybe your meats, your vegetables, your fruits, all that kind of stuff. You know, what does your food storage look like? And then in turn, what does your water storage look like? And we've talked about it in the past. I've talked about it on YouTube. You're not going to be able to store months and months of water. At least most likely not. The majority of us are not going to be able to do that. So what does your water acquirement plan look like? And then filtering and cleaning it after that. Is that sustainable to do? So on and so forth. But another thing I would put on everyone's radar on the prepping front is expendables. And when I say expendables, I mean things like, we could start basic, like tools. Do you have extra pairs of working gloves that are not opened, not used? Like you went and bought a couple pairs of working gloves that still have the tag on them, and you put them in a box, put them to the side, and now you have spares. Do you have an extra shovel or two? Do you have an extra axe? If you have a chainsaw, does your chainsaw have extra chains? You know, do you have extra caps for your fuel and your bar oil? Do you have extra fuel? Do you have extra bar oil? Do you have spark plugs? Do you have, you know, all of this stuff? But then you get into maybe even the tactical side of things. Do you have extra chem lights, note-taking gear, batteries? Do you have extra antennas for your radio? If you've been running, you know, radios long enough, especially these shorter 6 to 9 inch antennas, sometimes they break doing, you know, miscellaneous things. So do you have extra antennas for your radio? Do you have extra radio batteries for your radio? Do you have simple stuff like bolts and pins and whatnot for your AR? Or do you just have, completely spare ARs laying around? Unless you are just solid on all fronts. I don't suggest you go out and buy 10 fully built out spare ARs, but do you have some extra basic components? Do you have extended medical supplies? Not even necessarily just on your medications front and a few IFAKs, but like if someone were to get wounded in your household, let's say something rather minor in the grand scheme of things, they accidentally cut themselves with the chainsaw while they're outside working or whatever, and normal hospital services are not available. If it's not a surgical need, do you have the ability to properly care for that wound for a long period of time? Do you have extra gauze wraps, antiseptic materials, all of that kind of stuff? And then even look at your clothes. Do you have extra bags or packages of your own underwear and socks laying around that's not open and not getting worn on a normal basis? Do you have extra pair of shoes? Do you have extra, jackets, coats, anything like that? I mean, there's so much that you can dive into on the preparedness front outside of food and water. So I just want to put that on everybody's radar, just something to, look at. And then lastly, this is a hard topic to discuss. Not that it's hard to talk about it, but you got to walk a fine line sometimes. The different entities of the federal government, the FBI, the Department of Justice, so on and so forth, of course, are really pushing their limits and their bounds. As of a hot topic of things right now is with Liberty gun safes. The FBI conducted a raid on somebody who was just simply at January 6th. They called Liberty gun safe, said, hey, we want the code, we got a warrant, and Liberty gun safe just, gave it up. Now, since then, Liberty gun safe has came out and publicly stated that if you own one of their safes, you can call them and they will wipe your records from their logs or whatever, so on and so forth. So have they mitigated the issue a little bit after they've made a mistake? Sure. But there's going to be many companies to come that will fall to the fear and intimidation of the federal entities. And they don't care, both the businesses and the federal entities. The federal officers that are involved in all of this political circus crap, they don't care about you. They don't care that you think that they're violating their oath. They don't care that what you think they're doing is wrong. They don't care. And nobody else is going to care. So you need to do some soul searching, talk to your friends, talk to your family. You need to really start looking within as to how you personally are going to navigate the rough and choppy waters ahead on a multitude of fronts. And that is really all about I'll say on that. I think everybody gets the picture that I'm trying to paint. You just got to do some soul searching and just think internally and be like, what is my purpose? Where do my morals stand? What hard decisions might I have to make one day? What will I do? What will I not do? What's in the best interest of me, my family, so on and so forth. All these types of things. You got to look within with that. There's nothing I can tell you to do and discuss again anymore. We'll probably get this podcast taken down. So keep that kind of stuff in mind. Now, you should 100%, if all of these crazy natural disaster, quote unquote, incidents have not taught you recently in this past year, because every year seems to have a theme of destruction. This year seems to be wildfires. You need to not rely on government to come and assist you. It's not a corny joke. That's not a meme. That is real life. You need to get together with those of your like-minded, you need to get together with like-minded individuals in your area. Talk about how can I help not only ourselves but our community when time strikes, or how do I help my neighbor? If you are a cluster of 4 to 5 counties And there's other guys that made a little kind of community regional group next to you that make us up 4 or 5 counties. Or if their community gets all busted up for whatever reason or they're facing hardship, how are you going to go help them? The whole point of gathering, organizing, training together with people in your community is not just about some wet dream people have about fighting tyranny and whatnot. That's not what it's all about. Is that a possibility? Sure. But a lot of it comes down to, how do I help my neighbors even in just the most simplest of ways? Their town got hit by a tornado. Their town flooded. Somebody attacked the power station that provided power to that set of counties. How are we now going to provide aid to them while we still have, power, resources, so on and so forth? All these different things. Continue to network. Everybody on the internet is not a Fed. That is the most successful psyop that has ever been run, is that everybody on the internet and everybody that wants to, get together with other people and guys who want to train and all that, they're all Feds. They're all led by Feds, all of that bull crap. So don't get wrapped up into that kind of stuff too much. There ain't that many of them to be, pulling off those kinds of stunts. But that's really all I got as far as life and business updates go and whatnot. Times look tough ahead, to say the least. We have so much coming on, this coming election year. A lot. Whether it be internationally, nationally, natural disaster, politics, whatever it might be. So you need to get your house in order. You need to get your affairs in order. Got to watch your money. I'm not the best to always say that, because I'm not perfect with money, and sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't have made this decision to do this or do that or get this, whatever it might be. But it looks like just about everybody is going to have to tighten down the hatches for the foreseeable future a little bit and really think about what is important. If you have an incomplete IFAC, you might want a full IFAC. But if you've got 3 ARs in the safe, do you really need a 4th AR? Not unless you just absolutely have a shit ton of money laying around and you have nothing to use it with. Then sure. But if not, you'll probably get some other things. Do you have proper winter gear? Does your family have winter gear? Does your family have packs? Do you have nice maps around your house? If you don't have nice maps, maybe you should go to like a Staples or an Office Depot and get some nice maps printed off of Caltopo, which there's a video on our YouTube on how to create maps. That kind of stuff, guys. Be smart, make good decisions, and stick to your morals. No matter what anybody ever tells you, threatens you with, whatever it might be, stick to what you find to be morally and ethically right. And in that case, you will never lose. That's all I've got, guys. As always, train hard, train often.
Tell me turn it down and I'ma only turn up louder. Call me what you wanna, but you can't call me no coward. Strength in numbers, we the people, still the ones with power. Fighting fire with fire, time to take back what is ours. Tell me turn it down and I'ma